Are you trying to define what firing blanks is?
Yeah,
You can't define the undefinable, Dave.
Undefinable. I beg to differ. The clue is in the fucking title.
We are an ethereal entity.
You're like Russell Brand. You actually look like Russell Brand a little bit today.
So I'm going to take that as a compliment. He's a very handsome man.
And he's got the same kind of chest as you. Alright. What is happening, guys? Welcome to Firing Blanks. The clue is in the title. We have no idea what we are talking about. With me today... I think that's a pretty good intro.
That's nice. That's how I want it to be introduced.
Yeah, with me today...
is a fellow dunce.
James, how goes it?
Yeah, fine. I was a little bit better prior to that intro, to be honest with you.
Shall we do another one? I
feel like I've already been rendered useless. We haven't even started the pod, but I'm good. Other than that, thank you. How are you doing?
I mean, we aren't useful, so
no. I don't know that we're completely devoid of use either, though.
Right. Okay.
It's just our use is maybe different to the use that you would expect from two FPL hosts.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll do it again, and I can say not what you
expect. Oh no, I like it. I know, I like it. I like it. I think that's perfect.
Maybe I'll write them down next time. That might be better.
This is gold. This all stays.
I know. I feel like we just keep rolling with the good times.
Keep rolling, exactly.
How did your game week go?
It's so well, actually. And I'm really happy to be doing this podcast post game week 32 because it's I think, I haven't double checked this, the best game week I've ever had in terms of game week rank.
Oh, really?
This season. Yeah, I came 60,000th
wow.
This game week and scored 94 points. You got 90 points, right?
I got 90. How did you scrape through 4 more points than me? I was totally banging you for a good couple of days there.
I wish you were banging me. Well, I had Laporte.
Yeah,
I had Pope and Laporte.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think those are my key differentials that you didn't have. Because we did, we both had Aubameyang captain. We both had Bruno and Son. And so in that regard, we were bound to get similar scores.
Yeah.
But I just edged you there, Dave. Not in the way that I would have liked, but I did edge you.
Both your keepers actually returned, which is really nice for you.
Phenomenal. But I picked the right one. Which was really, really nice, because last week I did the opposite and it was horrible. There's nothing worse. I really hate having two playing goalkeepers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should probably stop that.
Well, I'm anticipating my bench boost, so I want to keep.
I gotcha.
I want to keep them, but honestly, I was looking at the XGA since the restart. I like my expected stats, Dave, and guess which two teams have the worst XGA since the restart? I bet you won't be able to guess them.
The worst XGA.
As in, so they should have conceded the most goals as far as stats go.
Liverpool.
No, not Liverpool. I'll tell you, Dave.
I just guessed the absolute opposite of what I would think.
Well, exactly. And actually, had you continued along that vein, you would have arrived at Sheffield United, who have the worst XGA.
Wow.
And Manchester City.
That's strange.
Isn't that remarkable? Yeah, I know. Especially after their clean sheet against Liverpool yesterday.
And you have two of them. You have two of their defenders.
Exactly. So now I'm starting to think, well, maybe that... We'll get to it. We're going to cover defenders, aren't we, in this episode?
We're definitely going to cover it. So what we're doing today is we're going to both pick a striker each. We're going to both pick a couple of midfielders that we like, and then a couple of defenders. Does that sound good?
It does. Is this just to be clear on the rules here, Dave? Is this just for game week 33 plus?
Yeah.
Or is it for...
I mean, it's caveat. So, you can pick someone... to be honest, mate, I just wing this. This is just fun. I didn't really write down rules. You can...
I was overestimating you and assuming you would have thought this through.
Why you did that. You keep doing that. You invite me on all sorts of things and you expect me to perform, and it's just not going to work.
I've just got to lower my expectations.
So, yeah, you can pick a striker that you want for the short term or long term, or midfielder or defender or whatever you want. I just figured that because we are coming up to the point where, we've had a couple of games across everyone's belts, we're doing well in our overall rank. We seem to be kicking this coming back to the football in high gear, me and you. So despite my introduction of firing blanks, we're actually firing absolute belters all over the place, all over everyone's face. So how about we go through and we chat about players that we're looking at, and hopefully whoever's listening to this, they can be like, oh wow, they're looking at that. He must be good because these guys are so unbelievably godlike at FPL.
And I don't think that's an exaggeration.
No.
I don't think being compared to a deity when it comes to our fantasy football skills is at all too flattering for us.
No, if anything, it's downplaying it.
Shall we start with strikers then, Dave? Because I've actually got one right in my head that I want to talk about.
Yeah, go for it. Floor is yours.
Harry Kane.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, I'll go now. No, I'm joking. Right, do it. Go on. Sell him.
Harry Kane, Dave. Can I pitch him to you?
Yeah, go
like
for
a
it.
door-to-door salesman.
Yeah, so
Let me give you the Harry
Kane. You have to
Kane
knock
pitch.
first. Go knock.
All right, hang on.
Right. Hello. Can I help you?
It's like the Archers.
What?
Hello,
what?
sir.
Hi.
Hello, surprisingly tall man. Would you like to hear more about the FPL players that I have to recommend?
Well, first of all, flattery charges my batteries, so you're in right away. Surprisingly tall man. I've never been wooed as such ever.
This isn't my first rodeo, Dave.
And two, I actually do play FPL. My name is actually FPL Dave, so you've came to the right house. How can I help you?
How fortuitous. Let me tell you about Harry Kane, one of our premium products
Okay, go for
in our current range.
Stop being so good at this. Right, go.
Harry Kane should have scored 2 goals yesterday against Sheffield United.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fact. We all saw the Lucas Moura handball.
Yeah.
We all know it wasn't a handball.
Yep.
It was a terrible shot from Harry Kane. It was a goal, though. He ended up scoring a consolation in the 90th minute, much to my relief, because it wiped out the clean sheet for Sheffield United.
Yep.
Harry Kane should have scored 2 goals. He's already scored a goal this season prior to yesterday's match. He has the highest XG and the highest non-penalty XG in the league at the moment. And he's played less games than the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal, for example. And I think with people looking to get rid of Aubameyang after his Norwich fixture, you could do a lot worse than Harry Kane. Look at his fixtures coming up. Mm-hmm. He has Bournemouth in game week 34. This weekend, it's actually on Monday, he has Everton, which again is Everton have been pretty good, but it's at home for Harry Kane. I feel like there are going to be goals in that game.
Yep.
I just think he's come back with a bang. He's got Arsenal after that, and we all know how much he likes a North London derby.
Yeah, that's true.
Newcastle then. I mean, his fixtures are good. His form is very good. His underlying stats are the best in the league.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you get Kane in?
Well, because he plays for Spurs, James. See, that's the only problem. I know you've came to my door and you're expecting me to just, suck you off right here and now over Harry Kane, right? But unfortunately...
My flies are open.
I was watching the game yesterday. It was awful. They played awful.
And yet, despite that performance, Dave, Harry Kane should have had a brace.
That's true. That's the kind of thing you want to hear, right? Even though players... collectively are doing shit, the individuals that we look at, Son and Kane, still got returns. So when their team is actually banging, hopefully they can bang in a lot more than just, the consolation goal in 90 minutes. I like it. Not bad.
Okay. Well, that's my striker.
All right. Okay.
Who have you got?
My striker was going to be Jesus.
Oh, and you mock me for Harry Kane.
It was going to be Jesus. Now, the reason that I'm a bit iffy about it now is because he started yesterday. But the thing that I was looking at the most when doing this, when looking at strikers, was that there actually is none that I like. There's almost none. Like, Harry Kane's a decent shout, but he's a lot of money. Aubameyang, everyone wanted to get rid, then he bangs, but he was gifted goals, so we don't know how to take that. Plus, he's not got great fixtures. Jimenez has taken 4 shots in the last 2 games, 1 on target, 1 goal. Well, it's not great. Wolves in general haven't been firing very well, so that makes me hesitant to have Jimenez anymore. The only players that I would actually consider bringing in are like the Rashfords or the Greenwoods, but it's really difficult to tell anyone going to take these 3 Man United players, because then the other 3 might score. Like, do you know what I mean? What we were talking about at Fantasy Weekly, it's just pick 3 Man United players and just leave it. So if you can get Greenwood in, then I think that's a great idea because he's going to play a lot of the games and he's going to be in a team that seemed to be banging, who have an amazing run of fixtures. Everything's going for them. However, if you're like me and you have 3 already and you can't get Greenwood in, then who do you go to? So I've actually came to the conclusion that if you want to go for Jesus and you're happy with the fact that he's going to get rotated every second game, then fine. But if you're not, then I'm actually going to go for Connolly. The Brighton young whippersnapper, 4.2 million. Put him on your bench. He might play it every couple of games now and again. And it means that you can move to a 5 in the midfield. And that's where all the action is. So my advice is to actually change your formation as opposed to giving you a striker you should pick.
See, I find this... Okay, that's interesting. I do echo your thoughts on the striker front. It's not exactly like we've got a plethora of options here. But I am surprised to hear, Dave, that you haven't mentioned Danny Ings.
No, I know. It's annoying. Like, I had him, and I've been shouting about him for so long, and I had him right from the day one of Abraham getting injured. I brought him in, and he's just banged since then. And then since the restart, he scored like a billion goals. The annoying thing about it is that I've lost so much money on selling him with the unlimited transfers that just bringing him back just hurts my heart.
I mean, you've lost your respect.
Yeah,
I hope you don't mind me saying that.
Danny Ings is not fixture proof. He's done okay. He's had 6 blanks against 10 games of the top 4 or 5 teams. So if you consider that, like, he's actually a decent option despite the fixtures that are coming up. But I just don't think that it's worth paying that much money, hoping that he does okay more than 50% of the time in the next 4 fixtures that are particularly bad for him. I would instead like to downgrade my striker and spend all the money on, a triple Man City midfield or something.
Okay.
But I like that you brought him up.
Shall we move on to midfield?
Yes. Give me your 2 midfielders, mate. Or we'll do one each or some shit. I don't know.
You know what? I currently have a wildcard team in front of me. I'm playing my wildcard this week, I think.
Are you really?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think I've seen enough now. We've got some games under our belt now. I can see form. And the first 2 midfielders to come into the fold for me are St. Maximum and Willian.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, You're going to have to sell that because I disagree.
I mean, the guy scored 4 goals in his last 4 games.
Correct.
He's also got an assist in that as well. He's on penalties.
No, he's not.
And he is on penalties.
He took a penalty because Jorginho has been suspended. Jorginho is back now.
Yeah, but I think Willian might stay on pens.
I'm going to go against the entire season because of 1 game. Here we go.
That's how I do.
Okay, cool. I'm good. Like, you've learned the fact. You've dismissed the fact. I'm happy we at least spoke about it.
That's my style.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's on free kicks.
Regardless, yeah, exactly. Okay, even if he's not, I still think he has enough going for him. He's only 7.1 million.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Chelsea's fixtures are relatively good. They've got Watford next. They then have Crystal Palace, who have been relatively easy to play against since the restart. Sheffield United after that, we know how they're struggling. And then Norwich. So, again, a decent run. And importantly, particularly given the phase of the season that we're in, Willian has played 90 minutes for the last 3 games as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is incredibly appealing to me, and I think a reflection of the amount of faith Lampard has in him. So,
well, I was trying to think of players that can play in his position, but Pedro's buggered off now, hasn't he? He's actually already away.
Yeah, Pedro is no more.
So I can't think of anyone else who really plays in that position, James.
No, I mean, they are...
There must be someone.
I mean, Loftus-Cheek, I suppose, he's not a like-for-like when it comes to Willian whatsoever, but they do have enough options, attacking-wise, that they've got Callum Hudson-Odoi somewhere around the periphery as well.
Mount-ish. Barkley could probably play over there.
But there's no one really, playing on that right side who has the pacey explosiveness that Willian has, other than Pedro, who, of course, isn't in the fold at the moment. So...
Yeah.
That, for me, that's an incredibly compelling argument. And again, I think I'm smashing it out of the park here. Kane and Willian Get him in your teams.
I mean, St. Maximin, will come back to him very, very quickly. He's a belter. He's been playing well. Newcastle, for whatever reason, has decided to turn it on in the last 8 games of the season. And if you've got a wild card or a free transfer and you don't have any other fires in your team, everyone's considered him. Holly was shouting about him last night, wasn't she?
I mean, don't underestimate his stats either. 2 goals and 3 assists in the last 4 games is phenomenal for a player under 6 million. So
I'm worried that Newcastle's good fixtures are gone, and with them, his returns. They've got West Ham next, and West Ham absolutely turned on against Chelsea. Let's not forget that. Amazing. Yeah. I don't know if that was because of how annoyed they were at the VAR call, because it seemed like that goal got chalked off, and then they just went into absolute red mode and just destroyed everyone. I thought it was quite funny. So they've got them next. And then after that, Newcastle have Man City. Watford's not bad. Tottenham, Brighton, Liverpool. So it's a very roller coastery.
It is. I mean, I think Tottenham are a good attacking fixture now for attackers. So I would say that a game against Spurs doesn't worry me. Man City, obviously, that's challenging. But as I said, one of the worst XGAs in the league. So Man City, not necessarily as resolute as they might look. So I think actually they're deceptively quite good, his fixtures.
I think he's a pacey guy. So he's kind of in a similar vein to the Chelsea guys. I would prefer to have them playing against equal teams or teams that are on the attack, so that the pacey guys can get in behind. It's what we like about Vardy. Particularly like it when that counterplay can come up, and Newcastle can obviously turn that on with the pace that they've got. So, I like him. I like him.
Good. Well, I'm glad that makes a change for one of my recommendations.
It was good.
Let's hear your midfielders, Dave.
All right, mine is obvious. It's going to be Mahrez. He came on against Liverpool and scored a worldy goal that got chalked off for similar reasons to that Sheffield United Tottenham game. And it was just ridiculous. There was a handball while someone was on the ground, so therefore it was disgusting. It's such a stupid handball rule. But anyway, so Mahrez comes on off the bench and does that against Liverpool. He can do it against anyone. He also has had a track record of playing well when starting. He's got great XG and XA, I'm assuming. I didn't even look, I just know that. Can you look for me?
Hang on a minute. Mahrez, it is. Hang on a sec. Well, he's not in the top 10.
All right, we'll just edit that
since the
then.
restart. But, is he? Okay. Oh yeah, no, he's 11th.
There you go. He's 11th. Sorted.
He's not in the top 10, but he's as near as you can be to the top 10.
He's had 2 goals and an assist in the last 3 games, and those games have been Burnley, Chelsea, and Liverpool. So not difficult games overall, but certainly not the easiest games. However, the easiest games are to come. Like it's a no-brainer. I feel like he's definitely going to play next game. His fixtures are against the easiest run you could ever hope to dream of for Man City: Southampton, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Watford, Norwich. Is amazing. So I'm actually going to be tripling up on City eventually. And you're on a wild card. Are you thinking about getting him in?
I'm not, no, I'm not. And actually, I think this links to a wider point about how many great midfielders there are at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got De Bruyne, obviously, who's been absolutely remarkable. I mean, there are no superlatives left for De Bruyne. You've then got all of the Man United prospects as well, in Fernandes, Pogba and Martial, who's playing out of position, of course. Willian, the best midfielder in the game at the moment. Right. So Maximum Traore. I mean, you could go on, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And so the question is, where do you put your City assets? Because a double up in midfield feels like a big sacrifice to make when there are so many other great midfielders.
That's absolutely true. The thing for me is that, like, we have no form to go on when we first started, so all we had was fixtures, and me playing the fixtures actually has worked out rather well. So tried and true method, do what you know. So I mean, Man City have the best fixtures. I'm going to triple up on them. Man United have the second best fixtures going into the last 6 games or so. I'm going to get them. Like I'm just playing it pure 1 + 1 = 2. And for Man City, like Foden is my third City player that I'm going to be bringing in. He's 5.2 million. He's had like 1 million goals in the last 3 games or something. He outscored Kevin De Bruyne. He's not going to play every game, but he's only worth 5.2 million. Like he's only 0.5 more than Saka, who has been on my bench all season.
I suppose the challenge for me is that I am still to use my bench boost, and so very mindful of the fact that when I do use that, if I happen to use it on a week in which Foden doesn't play, I mean it's fine if I'm benching him most weeks, but on a bench boost week, you obviously want 15 starters, right?
Well, here's a good point though. Then, if he doesn't start next game week against Southampton, you could probably be sure he will start against Newcastle at home the week after, because that's how Pep's rotation has been. It's been they get benched and they play, and then they get benched and they play, and it's the next 4 City games are all Premier League games, and then their 5th one is a FA Cup semi-final. So you could actually say that the next 3 games are really safe. There's going to be a very, very notable pattern of bench play for the main offenders like Silva's, Foden, Mahrez, etc.
You're a main offender.
So yeah, I think Foden's a great shout. And if he doesn't play the game week before, just do your bench boost for the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I've currently got. I'm just gonna update whilst I'm going through this wildcard because we're having these discussions. I'm tweaking my team accordingly.
I like that.
I now have a midfield of Willian, De Bruyne, Mahrez, St. Maximum, and Fernandes. So getting rid of Heung-min Son.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, Son returned, and we did talk about how we want players who, even though the team is being shit, they're still returning. But like, I think Kane is only an option because we actually don't have many options as strikers now. But midfield is overflowing. They're just doing so well. So like, yeah, I'd rather Kane than Son just simply because of that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was exactly my reasoning.
Perfect. So, what is your 3 strikers just now on your wildcard? Just curious.
So right now I've got Harry Kane, money where my mouth is.
Nice.
Mason Greenwood, and Danny Ings.
Wow, that's why you said why haven't you mentioned him?
Yeah. But I only put Danny Ings in a minute ago, so he wasn't in when I actually posed that question to you. But I just literally, and Dave, we've said it already this podcast, I was looking through and I was just like, I cannot find a third striker.
No, I know, it's annoying, isn't it?
You know, so just like Ings. Well, Ings has been doing really well. He's got a terrible fixture next, but I'll put him on the bench for that in all likelihood. And, you know, just keep him there. Do you know, he's one of those players who he's going to score a few more between now and the end of the season.
Yep.
So,
yep.
You know, I've got the best defence you can possibly imagine.
Shall we move on to defence then?
Go on then.
I will give you 3 defenders you can talk about then.
Really? Okay, yeah. Great. You know what? I'm saying this with my tail between my legs. Wan-Bissaka, first name in for me.
Fucking get him. Love it.
I bet you're loving this, aren't you?
Well, it's always nice when you say someone's going to do well and you actually purposely mention their attacking threat as the reason why they're going to do well. And then they get 2 assists in 3 games. It's a nice feeling, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you called it, to be fair. I thought after the first game back, he scored 2 points. I thought, yeah, Dave, this is what happens. And then 11 points and 10 points in his last 2 games, respectively. Remarkable. What I like most about Wan-Bissaka, though, is that, again, going back to this XGA table, at the top end, we have Sheffield United and Man City, very surprisingly, in my opinion. On the bottom end, we have Wolverhampton Wanderers and Manchester United, who are head and shoulders ahead of all the other 18 teams when it comes to XGA. They have been resolute at the back statistically, and therefore my other 2 defenders that I'm going to recommend are Doherty, who's also in my wildcard team, and Willy Bolly. I've actually tripled up. I've also got Patricio in goal in this wildcard, so I'm actually tripling up on Wolves.
Have you looked at their fixtures? Are you okay with their fixtures?
Their fixtures are good.
They've got Arsenal, Sheffield United, Everton, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Chelsea. It's again another roller coaster of a fixture run. Yeah,
I'm happy with it though. I think that given their XGA, they are more than capable of keeping most of those. I mean, Sheffield United and Crystal Palace are lovely fixtures. Yeah. Everton, I'm not necessarily too worried about them. You know, again, like I have to bench players here, right? So it's not like I'm going to be starting with a triple up every single match.
Yeah.
It's I think having one in your team at all times. Doherty's going to be the one that I play the most, obviously. I think it's again, like where else would you put your money at the moment?
I did notice. So I've been doing a lot of like soul searching this season because of how badly I had started, and I had noticed that. See, when you've tripled up on a defense, every time they don't get a clean sheet, it is like amplified in how much you hate them. And it seems like time actually slows down. Like you feel like you've had them for ages, even though it's only been 2 games, because you've missed out on 6 clean sheets in 2 games. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I've had Lascelles sitting there, and yeah, he hasn't had a clean sheet for a while. You don't really notice it because he's just one guy and he's just been sitting there. But if I had 3 Newcastle, they would be like a big red mark on my team. And so I would just caution that, like, you have a triple up in Wolves and you're getting rid of Aubameyang and he's going to score against Wolves and he's going to ruin
know what
it.
You mean.
And then Sheffield United scored 3 against Tottenham.
I do hear what you're saying. Absolutely. I think for me, though, it comes down to I'm a stats man, as you know, not scat man, a stats man, Dave. And when I look at the other options here, I'm looking at the likes of Manchester United. You know, they've got fantastic attackers. I want to invest in them more. I've got Wan-Bissaka. I'm looking at, Brighton have a fairly good XGA.
Yeah.
Could a Lewis Dunk be introduced into the fold?
Oh, that would be painful, I think.
That's an interesting one. Because actually, even like Burnley, who, you know, lots of investment in Burnley defence at the moment. Pope's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But not great. They've got the same XGA as Norwich since the restart. So, again, I put quite a lot of stock into these metrics.
And it's working
and for
you.
For me, the likes of Brighton, Everton, Newcastle are the more tempting propositions defensively at the moment. And Wolves, best XGA in the league. I just think their lack of attacking drive, and it's something that we've discussed on other podcasts, is another thing that really tempts me as well, because I just feel like I don't feel like I'm missing out on the likes of Jimenez and Traore.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's better to put in their defence because of how lackluster they've been striking. I'm completely with you. I was all set. I have had Jota just sitting there because I couldn't afford Jimenez when we restarted, and he's just been like the worst thorn in my team ever. And for the first game week, Jimenez scored, and I was like, oh, that's annoying. We'll give Jota another chance. And then Jimenez scored again. And without looking at the stats, I was like, right, I need to get Jimenez. Obviously, me downgrading to Jota didn't work. But then when I looked into it, like, Jimenez hasn't been doing that well, stats-wise. It's just not been the greatest. So, like we talked about the strikers for ages, I just think, I would downgrade Jota to someone else like Connolly, and use the money elsewhere. So I like Dockery, I like Bolly, I like Says, I like Patricio. That's fine for me.
Yeah. Who else have you? Who are you liking then defensively, apart from obviously Wan-Bissaka?
Well, you've stolen one of my guys. Hilariously.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
You've stolen him, so I'm just gonna do 2.
I think I can guess what one of them's going to be.
You can guess what one of them. Okay.
I think so, because I've got him in my team too.
Okay.
And I think that you will back him.
Okay.
Do you want me to guess?
Right. Hold on. I can't prove if you get it right or wrong.
Yeah. True.
Right, we'll say it. We'll say it 1, 2, 3, and we'll say it. Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Dean.
Lucas Digne.
Yes, mate. We did it. That was weird.
That was nice.
That was straight. I mean, we can't prove that.
Shall we kiss? Did we have sex now?
Yeah, we're best friends now.
Okay, that's nice.
Dean is in our Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is team that we created as our differential. No one's talking about these guys, so we're going to bring them in, see how well they do. And if we need to make any transfers, it costs us money that we put into a kitty for the stream league that we have. Dean's in there, and he's performed phenomenally. I think he's the only one to have a return every single week.
He's been great, and Everton themselves have been great. He's got 2 assists in the last 2 games.
Yep.
I mean, what's not to love?
Yep.
Get him in. 5.7.
They have...
I think particularly when you're looking at the likes of Trent at the moment and stuff, and these players who maybe you're starting to worry about, Dave, I'm looking at you here. You know, Digne, free up a little bit of funds, bringing in someone like Digne, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to get rid of Trent, but I like where your head's at.
I will get you to get rid of Trent by the end of the season.
Don't use me to try and make yourself feel better for not going with Trent. It's not happening.
It's been the best decision.
He's had the worst game of his career last night, and it's such a rare occurrence that he's still second for value for money of the whole game. He's second. First is Pope. So like you can't ever get rid of him for me. But Dean, on the other hand, Everton play Tottenham in game week 33, and it's their only really difficult game for the rest of the season. They've got Southampton, Wolves, Aston Villa, Sheffield United, Bournemouth. You'd think me saying Wolves and you kind of instinctively like flinch, but like we've just said, Wolves haven't been doing very well. Southampton is a decent game for attacking points. Wolves, I feel like that's decent for defensive points. Aston Villa attacking and defensive. Sheffield United attacking. Bournemouth both attacking and defensive. There's nothing to dislike about a Dean pick.
No, exactly.
So
I'm glad we're both on the same page.
He's definitely coming into my team. Game week 34. I've got the funds. I've sorted it all out. I've actually made transfers, mate.
You have.
Mm-hmm. I took Sarr out. Who was
about time.
He was my midfield punt. 6.4 million. Not bad. We'll just stick him in there. He didn't do well. I thought Watford were going to turn it on. They didn't. C'est la vie. He's out. Jota, like I said, he's out. I've actually brought in Connolly. I know I keep mentioning him.
You have. Well, again, I'm glad to see that you are, you're sticking to your guns here.
His eye test has been through the roof. I think he's been doing amazing. He's been their main outlet in the last 2 games. He started both, and although he hasn't had any returns, he played against Man United. They weren't really going to get much return there. And the game before that, he actually was really, really, really good. Like he was putting the pressure on. He was doing everything that he needed to do. It wasn't like he missed any sitters or anything. So I think given the chance, he'll actually perform well against lower teams. They have a decent fixture next. They're coming up against one of the worst teams I've ever seen, Norwich.
Bless them.
And you know what? And he's an absolute belter on your bench as well. Like 4.2 million. He's the cheapest striker in the game. So that has meant that I was able to upgrade Sarr to Mahrez, who we talked about earlier.
Nice.
So I've got Mahrez and De Bruyne and a little bit of money in the bank. I still have Aubameyang. I'm probably going to take him out for, like we've talked about. I have no idea. Maybe Ings after Man City or something, and then take a hit and bring in Dean for Egan or something, or Lascelles.
You know what, Dave? I hate to say it, but I love that. I think that's a really nice sounding team, and I think the Aubameyang thing could be a stroke of genius in a way, because I think whilst last week you couldn't really describe him as a differential amongst active users, I think now, after that Norwich game, for most managers, that Norwich game was Aubameyang's final swan song, right? And people are now looking elsewhere to the likes of Kane, perhaps, or one of the City boys or whatever. But actually keeping him in, you never know. Aubameyang's the kind of player that can score against anyone, and I don't think it's terrible. I mean, I've got rid of him in my wildcard. That was always the plan for me, but I don't think it's terrible at all to keep him in. No,
and I kind of like the fact that if I really want to, and it comes to the deadline, I could take him out and put Jesus in. Like, if I really feel like it, there's nothing stopping me. I can get almost anyone I want for him. I like him just being in there for like a cash cow now. The 2 players I want to bring in are Foden for Saka and Dean for one of my lesser defensive players. So I'll need to figure out what I want to do and if I want to take hits or whatever. But like the money's there in Aubameyang, so he needs to go if I want to do any of those things. And he is, like we've talked about, he's running on fumes. He doesn't seem like he gives a shit, really. The goals fell into his lap, although the whole team has been pressing really well in the last game. Like it obviously was a dominating game, but we have to remember it was against Norwich. So we'll see. Hopefully he can get a cheeky wee goal against Wolves. Yeah, he can score against Wolves, maybe an assist or something. I can then happily take him out and bring in one of those bangers. Foden is a particularly decent player to have for next week, not this game week, but next game week, because like I said, he's probably going to get benched this week. So yeah, a lot of options. And Dean again is playing Tottenham this week, so I'd probably rather have him the week after. It's all coming up, Dave.
It is, Dave. Is there anything that's tempting you in a captain on Mahrez this week?
Nah, not really. I mean, like, I was thinking about it last night, because I know you asked the question during the Fantasy Weekly podcast, and I hadn't actually considered it before that question was, given to us. And upon looking at it after that, I realized that the actual scale of the question, there's so many decent options. Fernandes, Rashford, Martial. Any of those would be decent. Mahrez, De Bruyne, also decent.
All of the Liverpool
players. It's difficult because all three of the big banging teams have great fixtures. So what do? You just revert to always captain Kevin De Bruyne. That's just how it works.
Yeah, okay.
So it's probably going to be him because he is the main man for City. We've seen him light it up against Liverpool, the best team in the league, and they won 5-0 because I'm counting that fucking Mahrez goal. So De Bruyne actually was the main man. Like the talisman theory was an obvious thing for that game. He was making everything happen. Whereas Fernandes is going to share points. I don't think he's the talisman as such, especially with Pogba sitting there. So it's difficult for me to go Fernandes over De Bruyne. And I have no Liverpool players, so it's easier for me.
Dave, are you not worried about the fact that De Bruyne has played 90 minutes for the last 2 games? We've already seen him benched once since the restart. Do you not feel as though there's a very real possibility of him being benched again at the weekend?
I think there is a possibility, but we have to remember that was their double game week that he got benched.
I think you're probably right. I think what I like about De Bruyne is that he is, I think, only 2 assists from the all-time Premier League assist record.
Thierry Henry, innit?
Which Thierry Henry, surprisingly. Do you not think, Dave?
I mean, he was the ultimate,
when I heard
like,
that.
Firmino back in the day.
For sure, yeah. I thought if you had asked me to guess, I would have gone for someone like David Silva, perhaps, or I certainly wouldn't. Coutinho, maybe someone like that, but certainly not.
But that
Thierry
was back
Henry,
in the day when everyone was rocking with 2 strikers, and he was the one that would find that pass. Kevin De Bruyne. He actually should have had another assist last night.
Yes, yeah, It was one of those games where he could have easily walked away from that game with 4 or 5 assists, and it wouldn't have been particularly surprising. I think that is. I like that about De Bruyne though. He also plays on a Sunday night, which gives him an extra day.
It's the last game of the week. I think.
Well, there is the Monday night fixture.
Oh, is there?
Spurs Everton, but do you even count MNF? I don't know. I don't know that you do.
No.
Personally, I have a bias towards players who have late kickoffs. I much prefer it to captaining someone who plays on the first day of a game week. So I've got it on Bruno Fernandes at the moment because that Bournemouth fixture is just so damn delectable.
25 goals, says Ben Dinnery.
I mean, he hasn't always been the most trustworthy source of FPL knowledge.
For injuries, he's amazing.
For score predictions, maybe not so much.
I think he still has Wilson.
We'll see, though. We'll see.
Even though Wilson's been suspended for 2 games.
That's that exactly. That says it all. Maybe the 25 goals he's predicting he's expecting them to come from Wilson in that Bournemouth game. Who knows? Knowing Ben, that would be his kind of strange blind optimism.
So you've got the captaincy on Fernandes. I've got on De Bruyne. I'm sure it's going to be another split game. So me captaining Son a couple of weeks ago and him getting an assist, whereas Fernandes blanked, worked out. It's a perfect game for a differential. I might end up putting it on Mahrez again. We'll see.
Mahrez is really tempting me because Mahrez, unlike De Bruyne, only played 32 minutes last game. I feel as though Mahrez is as sure a start as anyone on that Man City team. It's really, really tempting to go for him, to be honest. Because
he's definitely
look at his performances since the restart. I mean, he has never failed to return since the restart until yesterday's game, where he did score. It was disallowed, but he did score. So, I mean, the guy's he's remarkable, isn't he? And he will almost certainly return against Southampton if he starts. How many captains can you say that for?
Not many. I know that. All of this, but like Kevin De Bruyne though. yeah. De Bruyne is just another level, isn't he? It's another level.
I just worry about him starting, Dave. That's my concern there. I don't even have the vice on him. I've got the vice on Kane.
Thursday game, Friday, Saturday. So it's 2 days in between the games.
Exactly. It's fuck all.
How many games in between the next one after that though?
Fuck all again.
Is it really?
He's got another game on Wednesday.
Sunday to Wednesday. Well, that's not good. Is it a harder game? Newcastle at home? Not really. Oh, don't do this to me, mate.
I'm sorry. I don't want to spread the seeds of doubt. But
We'll see.
I mean, there's no guarantee that Fernandes is going to start either. But what I like about Fernandes as a captaincy option is not only his fixture, but the fact that he was taken off on 63 minutes in the last game.
That's true. That's the difference between him and Kevin De Bruyne, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's had an extra day as well. So I don't know. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Shall we move on? The last thing of this pod before we get going is going to be looking at our Money Where Your Mouth Is team. We already mentioned it earlier. We are trying to find players that no one has that we decide to stick in and hope for the best. And if we need to transfer them out, we put more money into the pot. Yeah. I'm going to name a few players that haven't been performing well and see if you want to spend the $5 on transferring them out, okay? Vardy.
Okay.
Harry Wilson. Loftus Cheek.
A mistake. Oh,
Barnes.
God, yeah. Oh, our midfield is in tatters, isn't it?
Ayew. Van Aanholt.
God, this is a shite team.
It was put together in 5 minutes, to be fair. But I think there's been some really good shouts. Like, what it's doing is highlighting the players that are differentials for us to transfer into our real teams later. Like, Dean's been in there the whole time. Kane's in there. St. Maximum's been in there since the start. And these are all players that we're now considering for our teams. So, if we're hitting 1 in 4 players to be a differential, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Shall we spend a transfer?
I've got one player in mind who I think is a differential, but who I think we can expect returns from going forward.
Yeah.
It's another Newcastle man, Miguel Almiron.
You want to put Almiron in?
I think Almiron...
I thought you were going to say Foden. I had him typed
No,
out.
Foden I don't think would count. Again, I think he's too popular.
Mate.
He's too popular. Everyone's talking about him at the moment.
He's popular. He's 2.7% owned. Like, that's so small.
I know, but it comes back down to this debate, doesn't it? Bruno Fernandes is a differential on that basis. No,
but like that's even on Twitter terms that everyone's bringing in Mahrez or Foden as a potential maybe third choice City player. Like there's so many caveats that we get into Foden. That's
Foden's just such a lovely choice, though. He's such an easy choice.
I know. Come on, we put Pogba in there, and he's done well. And Pogba's like an easy choice, kinda.
Yeah, but no one was going for Pogba. I feel like Foden is not a differential at the moment.
I feel like if we actually spent time on this last week, we'd have brought Foden in for this week. Right? Okay, fine. Let's go for fucking Almiron then. Right? Who are we taking out? Barnes or Harry Wilson?
Harry Wilson, because Barnes is at least...
Okay, and you're happy to spend the money.
Barnes is on a team that wins games. Yeah.
If you want in on this code, by the way, to get into this league, that you could potentially win all the money that we're wasting with all these shite picks, just DM me. Because I don't want to give the code out, because then everyone's just going to join. I want it to be people who are, watching the stream.
I've got another player as well, but I don't think we should spend a $5 on it. But I want to float him now.
Right, okay.
He's got Liverpool next. He's a Villa player.
No.
Courtney Howes.
No.
Courtney Howes, centre-back for Aston Villa, Dave.
Uh-huh.
In the top 10 for XG since the restart. He's a defender. He's the only one in the top 40. He gets his head on basically every single set piece. The man is an absolute tank. I'm not saying we bring him in now. I'm just saying keep your eye. He's got Man United and Liverpool next, so keep your eye on him through those fixtures.
So you don't want to spend a $5 on him? Because I'm happy to do it.
No, not right now. Not right now. But I just wanted to raise this because I don't think he's going to do anything over the next few games. But I think after that, we could see him. Just watch him on set pieces, Dave. Honestly, he will get his head on every single fucking ball.
I didn't even know who he was until you just said him. So
yeah, he's built like a bloody brick shit house.
Do we have any other I was looking at McNeil from Burnley. He's actually
that's a differential.
He's been doing really well,
my friend.
Like for his
I like that.
His shooting and all that stuff. I was thinking about bringing him in.
His ball kicking abilities.
Yeah, his overall footballing skill.
Yeah.
His stats just keep jumping out. Whenever I look at overall stats for midfielders, he's just there.
Dave, that is the spirit of the put your money where your mouth is team. Players like McNeil, not Foden's, players who literally no one is talking about.
Right,
Those are the ones that we want.
All right, can we put him in for Barnes, please?
McNeil apart from you.
Or Loftus Cheek.
All right, it's going to cost us a tenner. in total, but let's do it.
I'm okay with you spending a 10.
I would probably, yeah, I bet you are. Yeah, I'd probably rather get rid of Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I've done it. It's done.
Because I've still got faith in Barnes.
Have we got faith in Vardy? There's no other strikers. Who the fuck were you?
Yeah, exactly.
Greenwood.
Exactly. I don't. Again, is he a differential at the moment?
Not really.
I think Vardy stays in.
Yeah, because you can't afford another 5.
Exactly, yeah.
By the way, if you haven't noticed, it's
bankrupting
James that's bankrolling this whole thing. Let's put Pookie in for fun.
You fuck off. I will never put my money... I'll never spend my money on Pookie, I'm sorry.
Really?
I draw the line there. All
right, okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me, James. I think that was time well spent on figuring out my next transfers, so thank you.
You're so welcome. It's really helped with my wildcard. My team looks phenomenal, to be honest with you.
Can you post it on Twitter at some point so we can see it?
Yeah, for sure. I can do that.
We're obviously looking amazing on our teams now.
We're looking amazing in the flesh, and our FPL team's looking good too.
Yes, and one day I'll get you hosting, because this is a collaboration, mate.
I really enjoy not having to worry about hosting. So you keep going, my friend. You do a great job.
Thanks.
And it takes the weight off me, you know?
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I know this isn't a stream. Our typical thing is to stream and then record it. But we thought, we'll just do a little lunchtime chat.
We're versatile performers.
It was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Well, speak for yourself. I found it an arduous chore from start to finish.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Bye.